Hey everyone, it's Edwin, and today I have a special interview for you, but before we get into it, I want to give you guys a bit of context so it all makes sense. Earlier this month, Trisha Payta uploaded a video called Meet My Alters, Dissociative Identity Disorder. In this video, she mentioned that she diagnosed herself with the mental disorder, and it upset a lot of people, and especially people with DID due to her casual spread of misinformation regarding the disorder.
My alters video, if you guys don't know what an alter is people that have multiple personalities.
This came about a week after Anthony Padilla's video on DID, in which he interviewed several people about the disorder, so he felt as if she was making a mockery out of it and shared this on his Instagram story.
Because when I watch other people talk about it, I'm like, they're crazy. Like, I watched the Anthony Padilla one, and there's a girl, Dissociative or something, I think his name, she's British, and like, I watched it and I was like, oh, like, she seems crazy, but I know that's like what I sound like now, which is actually like really, really scary.
This led Trisha to do a response video enraged and exasperated towards Anthony.
This video is specifically to Anthony Padilla, who I loved, admired, respected.
But this video was also not well received. Throughout her videos, Trisha mentioned dating someone with DID. That someone is a woman named Encina. I got in touch with Encina and proposed an interview because I thought it could be beneficial for her to share her perspective, not only on everything that's been going on, but also just her experiences in general as someone who suffers with DID. This is my interview with Encina Severa. What was your initial reaction to Trisha's video?
Honestly, okay, so I saw it and immediately my heart like dropped and I just started to feel nauseous, like immediately. It wasn't, and that was even before I saw the video. I just saw the headline of it and I was just like, oh wow, I can't believe she did this. Like,
the video is called Meet My Alters, Dissociative Identity Disorders.
Yes.
So
just seeing that, I didn't know what to think at first. I was just more hurt, I think, just because she didn't tell me. And for me, it just didn't make any sense because, when we dated...
she referred to you as, she says something along the lines of, I dated somebody with DID in the past.
The beach, and I was talking about DID there. I dated a girl who also had DID, and we talked about it a lot there. She has alters.
That was one of the things that we like connected on, like, was our mental health. We were both like, this is what I suffer from, this is what I go through, you know, this is how I try to deal with it, like that kind of stuff. And I told her that I have DID.
Her and I, again, related on that sense of having episodes and having breakdowns, and she was so open and she's like, it's okay.
So when she posted her video, she didn't reach out to you beforehand to get any insight about that, correct?
No, not at all.
And did you reach out to her back or anything like that?
Like after I saw the video? So I reached out to her like a few days later because I really needed to kind of process it because, again, when I watched the video, I was hurt because she spread so much misinformation, for one, and I think that's why the community is so upset at her in general. For me, I'm not upset that she came out and said that she has DID. I'm upset about the misinformation. One thing that kind of hurt me was the fact that she didn't tell me. She didn't bring it up to me. She didn't say, hey, this is how I feel, like, what do you think? Or anything. She didn't get my opinion. She didn't, whatever. Supposedly we're so close, but she never once brought it up to me, and now she's coming out saying that she has this, but she's not even describing it in the correct way.
Before we went on to make this video, you told me that several of your alters were actually also upset, you know, from Trisha's video.
Yes.
How does that work? And, you know, of course, correct me if I say anything in an improper way, but when you watched it, did they also watch it after, or how?
So some alters can be co-conscious, basically where it kind of means where they're both looking out of the eyes, if you were to imagine the eyes as like a window, at the same time. So we can be co-conscious to where we can kind of be closer to the front, as in fronting. And sometimes, like if one of them's super, super upset or something, or like feeling a specific different feeling that I'm feeling, I can start to feel theirs at the same time, and it feels really weird. It like, imagine as if all of a sudden we started to kind of like meld into one, and our thoughts kind of like, ooh, it would kind of be weird.
Yeah.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah,
like, okay, so that can kind of happen, but that's kind of how they've seen that.
Okay.
Think about it like, say you're super into spicy food.
Yeah.
But I am not. I can't handle spicy food at all. But all of a sudden we started mixing, and all of a sudden I was like, I want spicy food. But I knew I could not handle spicy food. So all of a sudden I'm like, I want this. So like, but I don't like it.
How many of your alters like spicy?
No, I'm just making an example, but, like as if me and you were to do that.
But you do have different taste buds, essentially.
Yes. Yeah. So some of like, oh my God. Yeah. Absolutely. So some of my alters like sushi. I do not eat seafood whatsoever. Anything that comes from water, I guess.
Are you ever in the middle of eating sushi and then, well, not you, but one of your alters eating sushi, and then you come back, you're like, gross, something like that?
So it's like, it hasn't happened like in the middle of it, like where I'm like mid-bite or anything. Like it's usually like afterwards where I'll kind of feel like nauseous, because to me, I think it's the texture a little bit that I really don't like it, but it's also it's like the fishy taste.
Yeah, it lingers.
But also because of that, it just gets to my head where I'm like, oh, I feel nauseous. Like this just sucks so bad. So originally, so years ago, this was in like 2011, I was doing YouTube videos, and my channel was based on DID only. I made only DID videos, but back then there wasn't a good support system like there is now.
Right.
You know, back then I only had negative comments.
There was stigma was stronger.
Yes, there was so much. And there's another channel, Multiplicity and Me, who also was around that area or that time frame that did the same thing. But we got so much hate, and we never talked, that I noticed her channel, she took her channel down, and I ended up doing the same thing because I was like, I am getting nothing but hate. So years later, around now, I started to make the videos again, and it's more positive. So that's a big reason why my alters didn't want to do videos now, is because of how much negativity there was, and they were like, I don't want to be involved anymore. Yeah. But when they saw this Trisha thing, and they saw how big the community got together, they were like, we want to join in.
If any of your alters want to speak up, can they choose to do that, or would they choose to do that?
Yeah, they can come out. It's not always like a fast like switch or anything. Switches can be very fast, but then they can also be really slow and kind of woozy, I guess.
Transition.
If that's yeah.
So when you reached out to Trish after a few days, what did you express to her?
I basically kind of broke everything down. You know, I explained why I was hurt. Like, why wouldn't you have even come to me type of thing? Like, obviously, you're your own person, so you don't have to. But I just kind of figured, well, if we're so close like you claim, then you would open up to me or ask my opinion or something. And I broke it down again even further where I'm like, well, we dated. And you said you had it, but you never came out and told me. So it just doesn't make any sense. So I explain why the community is so upset because of all the misinformation that she's spreading, which gives more power to the stigmas. And that's something that we've been working so hard to fight against. So it's more work on our shoulders that we kind of are trying to correct.
And how did she respond to your concern?
It was very quick of a response. She was upset that I was thinking that she was making those videos for views. And for me, I was like, well, it kind of seems like it, because the way that you're describing DID is completely wrong. No, she doesn't have to like explain herself, you know, she can make videos on whatever she wants, obviously. However, I feel like it would help so much more if she would have at least like educated herself on the subject, you know, and didn't claim to say, I have DID, meet my alters. And especially since she has a video saying meet my alters, like her alters didn't come out on the video. It was still just her describing her alters. So it was again another kind of like, it seemed like a clickbait video.
And she followed it up with a video against Anthony Padilla in which she was angry at him for calling that out, you know, because it seems as though she made it following his video spreading awareness on dissociative identity disorder, but the way she said that the YouTuber Dissociative seemed crazy is very invalidating. I felt like
it's incredibly invalidating
to say that someone. I mean, because she was the only person in Anthony's video that switched on camera.
Yeah.
So to say that she seems crazy, I think that was probably the part that could have definitely done without in her video.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in general, most of the stuff that she said could have done without, but that for sure, being like, she did state in her text, you know, I call myself crazy and I can call whoever I want crazy. And it's like, yeah, you can, but that doesn't mean you should. Like, it's, especially with people with mental health, it's not just DID in general. Like, you shouldn't be putting anyone down in general, but especially somebody with a mental health disorder who it does discredit the things that they've gone through. It does say, no, you haven't gone through that, like, get over it type of thing. And that's just not okay when you're calling someone else crazy. And I guess that was another thing that really hurt me, where I was like, well, you're calling her crazy. You're saying people with DID are crazy, you know, and you thought that she was crazy. I'm like, you thought that I was crazy then? You think that I'm crazy? You know, so I'm like...
And that's one of the reasons why I also wanted to actually proceed with this video, because this isn't something that's very talked about, you know, and it's not really so much about it's a personal beef between you and Trisha in any way. It's more so about the reason, the root of it being such an invalidated thing, you know.
Yeah.
I found it a lot to wrap myself around because I had met you before, and when I saw that video on MedCircle, I saw Minnie. I was like, whoa, like it was a lot.
So what's your favorite game?
I don't know. I like lots of them. I used to go to the park all the time, and we would go and go on the slide and go around like that. And we would play a lot.
It can be a lot, yeah. Especially, like, so even for me, a lot of people are like, oh, well, how do you react to something like that? And I'm like, honestly, even for me, it can still be a little strange, because altars can be like animals or inanimate objects, or like, you know, fairies and things like that. Like, I have a fairy altar, but for me, I've talked to somebody who had like an animal altar, and at first I was like, how do I respond? Like, in my head, I'm like, what do I do? Like, do I pet you?
See, and it's
like, it's like, seriously, like, you never know. Like, some of them might want to be petted. Like, you know, I don't know.
To hear somebody say, like, somebody might have just heard you watching this, like, oh, I have a fairy altar. They might think, whoa, she's crazy. And like, you know, maybe it's a normal thought, but to say it in a serious manner, I think that's like a very dismissive, and that's what can be hurtful, because it's a real disorder.
Yeah.
But you've also said in the past that you've seen some psychiatrists that believe in DID. Did you use that terminology because there are some that don't believe it? Like,
oh yeah, there's a lot of doctors, therapists, psychiatrists that totally think it's completely made up. They don't believe it at all. But there have been scientific studies that have been done with like brain scans and things like that to prove that things are changing within the body. Yeah. So it just...
So the way you communicate with your alters is you could either co-pilot. Is that an inappropriate way to say? Is it okay to say co-pilot? Or because co-conscious seems to be the...
Yeah, co-pilot could be like, you know, you're both piloting the body. You're both, you know, that kind of thing. So I guess it could be another term that somebody could use.
Casual, but co-conscious was like the technical term. Okay. Yeah. But you can't do that with all the personalities. Alters, right? Damn. See, now I screwed up. I feel like I should have said that.
No, you're okay. You're okay.
Because the technical term is alters, like personalities.
Because alters is basically because it's an alternate state of consciousness. Okay. Like, it's your alternate. It's another being. So yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. So back in the thing, another way you communicate besides, you know, because you can't be co-conscious with all your alters, so you journal. And, and here I'm seeing the different handwritings, and it's interesting because right here it says entry about Minnie, and it says Minnie says. So is this you being co-conscious with Minnie, and you're writing for Minnie? And then there's Devin.
Devin is actually Minnie's protector altar. So one of the biggest questions that I get about Minnie is, what if Minnie is out and something happens where she shouldn't be around it? What if you're driving and Minnie decides to come out? What if, whatever it is. So if there's anything that a 3-year-old should not be around, that's when Devin comes in and is like, nope, come on, let's come on in. Let's, go somewhere else type of thing. So.
Melanie?
So she's kind of mischievous.
She's a teenager.
She's a teenager.
Yeah, that handwriting is definitely teenager.
She's a teenager. She's 14.
I'm not really sure what to write in this book. All I know is that I'm bored. I want to come out and explore more. I want to meet new people and have fun. Has Melani's attitude changed since 2014?
I mean, she's, from what I hear, I'm not co-conscious with her at all.
Okay.
Yeah, at all. So when she's out, I have no idea what's happening at all. But from what I know, she's still the same.
Maybe we can ask her. Does she come out or not?
She hasn't come out in a long time from what I know. Again, sometimes altars come out and I have no idea which ones come out.
Wow.
And I think that's a big reason why we decided like a journal thing would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Not all of them use it. But
come on, let's all agree. So, okay, then you have Elora. Mm-hmm. And she cleaned your room because you can be messy. Mm-hmm. And what's Elora's story?
So Elora is the fairy.
Oh. Mm-hmm. That is very fairy-like, very...
So I'm feeling very, like... I'm starting to feel like it's like a dream.
Oh, yeah?
So I'm feeling like an altar, like, really, really close.
Wants to say something?
Yeah, I mean, if they come out, they will, but...
Okay. Yeah, and, if they feel free to, because this is open communication, and,
mm-hmm.
The goal is shared here. We share the same goal, to just spread awareness and do it in the most cautious and appropriate way, so...
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like a dreamlike state.
Yeah, so there's different types of dissociating. Sorry, hold on.
That's okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Elora.
Hey. Mm-hmm. I was just reading your entry journal. From 6 years ago.
Yes, from a long time ago. What were we talking about?
Yeah, I was just asking about the other altars. Kind of how they co-pilot. Do you co-pilot with Encina?
Yes. Not all the time.
Okay.
Not all the time. When it comes to dissociating, it can be different for everyone. I think Encina was kind of explaining this from what I remember. So she was saying things can be very different. One person can have a switch that's a lot faster than another person's, and there's two different kinds specifically that are covert or overt. Basically, you can have a trigger to where it switches you instantly. You can have ones that make you feel very sleepy and what's called, you're having derealization, where you don't feel like you're in your body. You don't feel like you're in the place that you're in.
Okay.
So have you ever had like a feeling like that before?
When I'm about to kind of panic or pass out, maybe.
Okay. Have you passed out?
Yeah.
Oh.
So is it sort of like losing consciousness then, or?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when one switches, I should say when one switches, whoever is fronting gets brought back inside. And again, you can either be co-conscious, where you are both seeing what's going on, you are both kind of navigating things, or one of the altars is navigating while the other one is not, and is just inside and can see, or you're completely dissociated, where the person who is fronting and gets brought inside can't see anything.
Okay. So at this point, it's just Elora. Mm-hmm. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking? Sorry. How young are you?
I like to tell people that I'm really, really old because I'm not in the double digits.
Oh. So what is it like to look in the mirror as a fairy?
So all of the alters see the same body. Like, I wouldn't see myself as a fairy in the mirror, but on the inside I can see myself.
Okay. Do you enjoy being on the outside?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What brings you out? What would you say, I guess, sort of be the trigger?
So again, it doesn't always have to be a trigger for me to come out. Sometimes, you know, it can be as if, like, you go to sleep and then you wake up, but you're not waking up like I would wake up. So it doesn't have to always be a trigger. But for me, it usually tends to be something along the lines of, oh, let's get things done around the house. Let's, like, make sure that, you know, everything is in order. When Encina primarily is getting very stressed because a lot of things are piling up, it's when I can kind of help out.
Okay, so very protective, very help take care of things. What are some misconceptions that you think should be brought to light and corrected as far as dissociative identity disorder?
I think the biggest one is mainly that it's not rare. A lot of people just haven't been diagnosed with it. The one thing, 1 to 3% of the population actually has been diagnosed, which is literally the same as somebody with bipolar disorder. Wow. So it's not as rare as people think it is.
And those are the people that have been diagnosed. So there's likely more.
And there's many more. And I guess another thing would be not to take everything that Hollywood puts out there as real. You know, obviously, a lot of other movies that you see, they're over-exaggerated. And when it comes to DID, it's unfortunate that pretty much all of the movies that have come out, almost all of them, I should say, have come out as being painted in a negative light.
For the person that has it, like, split.
My name's Hedwig.
How old are you?
9. Don't worry. He's not allowed to touch you. He knows what you're here for.
One of his alters was a beast that had extra power and like strength. And that's not something that's part of DID, like having extra strength. However, you know, alters can have different taste buds and different
medical conditions, different likes, dislikes, different genders, different ages. So it's very different for everybody.
Is there anything particular that, see, because my immediate reaction is to think, well, I already asked you about the Trisha video, but I didn't ask you. I asked Encina. So is there anything that you would like to say in that regard of Trisha's video?
I'm really offended by it. I'm hurt that, you know, somebody who was very close to Encina would say something like this, because from what Trish led all of us to believe that she was close to Encina, and that's what we believed. But since she came out and made that video, you know, it makes second thoughts happen, and a lot of us were really, really upset and really wanted Encina to at least say something. I know Devin wanted Encina to do a video with Trisha, but obviously we were like, that's probably not going to happen.
Since this?
So, yes.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
Yes.
What kind of personality is that? What kind of personality does Devin have?
So Devin is Minnie's protective alter, but she's also there to kind of make sure things are okay. She wants to, you know, not burn bridges and stuff. She wants to be able to help to communicate. However, I think she was being optimistic. I think she was being hopeful, and, you know, Encina was too. At the time, Encina was like, she's not going to do a video with me. It's okay. And Devin was like, no, you should ask her. And Encina was like, I'm not going to ask her. So I know Encina did give her the option and said, if you would like to, but she also said, I feel like you should do a video and at least apologize in some way, because we did see the transitioning video, or she came out as trans. She apologized later on, and I think that was a big thing that Encina was like, well, I will just bring this up, and hopefully she'll be able to see this in a positive light, to say something positive for the community, because it's a hard thing to believe when you're spreading misinformation, when you haven't talked about it with supposedly the only person that you know with DID. It's just really hard to take it as this is 100% truth.
Well, especially considering Trisha's response, and Trisha blocked Encina on Instagram, which is...
And in a lot of her instances, she'll claim something like, oh, why would you come for me? It's ridiculous. Like, you would... I think she said something about, like, you would never go after Shane.
You can't come for, like, someone, like, your own level. Like, he's not going to come for Shane Dawson, you know what I mean? It's like...
Oh, he would never.
Yeah.
And those are false equivalencies, too, because, for one, Shane would not say that kind of thing, and if he were to, I think people would go after him, you know?
Well, no, I mean, she was saying that Anthony Padilla would never say anything or come after Shane.
But I still think that he would, or he should. Like, if Shane Dawson were to say, I have dissociative identity disorder a week after Anthony's video, I would hope that Anthony would say something.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but the harmful thing about doing this sort of behavior online is that you're going to get a lot of people that are upset, rightfully so, but they react in an emotional manner, which is, you know, people essentially should take a moment back. And I mean, internet strangers don't owe her anything, but I think that could possibly play a role in perpetuating her behavior, but at the same time, in like making her feel like, I know what I'm doing, but I don't want this video or anything that we're saying to come off as if we have any ill intent, because I would like the objective to be sort of accountability, like realize what you're doing and how it affects others, because she doesn't like it. She's claimed she doesn't like it when others do things to her. So it's kind of a thing like, well, I call myself crazy, so that shouldn't be a problem. Well, yeah, just you don't like this, other people don't like that.
You know, obviously it's hard to believe that Trisha really does have DID. However, if she does have it, you know, I feel like if she was to get help and speak to a therapist, educate herself more on it, and, you know, when it comes to seeing a psychiatrist, there isn't a medication that helps DID. There's medications that can help the effects that DID has, because DID, you know, you'll get anxiety or you'll get depression at times, or, you know, things like that, because everybody who has DID has CPTSD.
Have you ever met Trisha? Did you ever get to meet her?
Not personally.
Okay.
We've never, you know, I've never introduced myself, but I've been near.
Do you have anything that you would say to Trisha, like assuming that she's watching this right now? Would you have a sort of message, or if not, that's okay too?
I personally don't. Okay. I personally don't, yeah. I think the biggest thing that we're all appreciative that you're okay with doing a video like this. We did want to come out and do a reaction video in general to say our side and to kind of correct the things that she was spreading that's, you know, not true. So the fact that we get to do this is really nice.
Yeah, and I was telling Encina that if there's, you know, well, I just told you as well, like, there's way too much footage that I'm going to have, and so far this is going really splendid, and if she wants to, I mean, I'll do all the editing, I'll splice it together and everything, and send everything over, and if she wants to put it on her channel, that's totally fine with me. But, yeah, it's nice to meet you.
Hello, Encina.
I know, hey, Encina. So I just met Laura.
I saw a little bit.
Yeah?
I saw a little bit. It's hazy. Again, I would kind of describe it as dreamlike.
I get that feeling sometimes, like when I'm almost like awake and I feel like something is happening, but then I wake up, it's like, well, that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt so real because like I can hear noises in real life.
Yeah.
Past couple days and Saturday, they were putting a door in and they were hammering it at 8 in the morning, so I could hear it, but I wasn't fully awake, and I felt like I was like texting someone. And then I woke up, I was like, no, I didn't. But yeah, like, is it like, okay.
Yeah. So everybody dissociates.
Yeah.
Every single person on the world dissociates.
Okay.
However, there's different types of dissociation. You know, and the biggest dissociation that people don't have, like a disorder or like an alternate personality type of thing, is when you are driving and you zone out and all of a sudden you're home. That's a type of dissociation.
So we just filmed for about an hour, and then we took a little break, and you received a message.
Yeah, I got a message on Instagram from somebody. She just made another one. I was like, oh no.
so this video is called "My Alter Switch," caught on camera, live footage, dissociative identity disorder.
And her main picture, her freaking thumbnail, is her cross-eyed.
Yeah. Okay. So at least it's only 11 minutes. 'Cause
Yeah.
She typically does longer videos. So I don't know. I feel. Okay. Well, let's save our commentary for.
Yeah. Okay. All right.